Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, all.
Thank you for joining us. Are you doing the hosty majosty thingy?
Nope.
All right, then. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Yann, the weirdo with the long hair and the beard. And thank you for joining us on Follow Everton on a Saturday afternoon. We're excited for what hopes to be a positive away trip to Craven Cottage as we see the battle of the former Everton managers and the return of one. Yeah. Looking forward to today, Wes?
I'm always looking forward to watching the Blues. Don't get me wrong, Jan. But as I've just spoke to you off air, I'm just pissed off with why he keeps putting square pegs in round holes. Why has he got Nathan Patterson, who's a genuine right back, sitting on the bench, and Jake O'Brien, who is not a right back, at right back?
I'm sorry. Are you literally everyone's on the same? Not to diminish what you're saying. It's totally valid. Everyone's on the same bandwagon. Let the fume begin. The team is baffling. What the? Yeah.
Yeah. It looks to me like it's another case of trying to frustrate Fulham and sneaking a goal. And we need to be more proactive. You know what I mean, rather than reactive to stuff or negative. I get it. We're away from home, but at the same time, we're on
The
a
winning
decent run.
teams, the top teams, maybe, it's not a package deal and you don't know which comes before which, but the top teams go away and play to win. And it doesn't matter. It's not that makes them. They don't do that because they're the top teams. They're the top teams because they do that. You're right. And being reactive and responsive is just going to always set us up on the back foot. You've got to baffle and confuse. And football is a game of fine margins, right? And if you're sitting back, I said it recently that maybe some of our team selection, but as baffling as it is because it's a responsive reaction to how to set up against the opposition. And when we're not seeing very much proactive going, we're going to go attacking and do this, and it's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, I picked up a guy today. Now I'm not going to sit here and slag off Michael Keane because he's had an half decent season, to be fair, for his standards. Do you know what I mean? But I was speaking to a guy this morning. I picked up he was going the game, and me and him both thought that Branthwaite would be starting and Keane would be dropped. But obviously that's not the case. What we both turned around and said is that Michael Keane set the bar so low and how his performances have been over the years that when he's half decent, we think he's been good. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, he's chipped in with a few goals, but and he kind of stepped in when Jared was out injured. But even in Moyes' own admission, right, he played 45 minutes and then 85 minutes last week. So why isn't he starting?
You have, again, you're asking me as if I've got inroads to the club. No, you're right. Who knows? Because you look at that team and you go, okay, we've got O'Brien on the right. And we know that for as good as he looks to be a future pairing for Branthwaite as a centre-back, he's not a natural right back. And we've got Patterson and Asnu, as everybody in the comments is saying. And we've, and was it Emma here who says, or somebody said, oh, that was it, Mr. Blue Skies, sorry. Branthwaite, presumably, you'd think common sense says Branthwaite can't be fully fit yet, otherwise he'd be starting. And the same thing as Gavin said here, Asnu played in the German league last year, and George scored in Europe for Chelsea recently over the past 2 seasons, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't expect to see Tyreek George today. I'll be honest with you, but at the same time, it's like if you've got Addison Armstrong out on the right, yeah, you've got Iliman Jai who's played most of the season out on the right. Then throw him in, or if you've got faith in Dwight McNeil, like David Moyes has come out and said, like we're glad that he's still here and blah blah. I think it's a bit tongue in cheek, but at the same time, if he's an Everton player, that's where you get the most out of Dwight McNeil when he's on the left.
Well, I mean, yeah, looking at it now, you've got But then again, you look at Fulham, and for some reason they seem to have Iwobi at left back. So maybe that would be an interesting thing. Maybe Armstrong will be the. I don't know, because
Was that Andy Robinson injured? Is he?
apparently so. This is just what the BBC have put up, and it seems to be the team is Leno, obviously, Iwobi, Cuenca, Anderson, Castagna, Chukwueze, Berger, Sessegnon, Wilson, Smith Rowe, and Jimenez. So
I think you're more likely to see Sessegnon at left back, aren't you? Surely.
well, that's what I think, but I don't know what's been going on if Iwobi's pushing forward, and I've no idea. The BBC apparently that's what they're saying.
Well, anyway, I'm going into today's game with confidence. Don't get me wrong, that we can get something out of the game, but at the same time, his lineups are starting to sort of confuse people.
It's the lack of not seeing the players that we think we'd see, or you'd expect to see. But I mean, what's happened to Tyler Dibbling? Is he even on the bench?
Well, apparently Moyes has a dig at him, hasn't he? And says he needs to pull his finger out. We can't pull his finger out if he's sitting on the bench week in, week out, coming on for little 5-minute, 10-minute cameos, can he?
Yeah, you're right. You'd probably expect to see Sessegnon at left back. I'm trying to see where else the teams are playing. Yeah, but to see Dibbling, so then I guess maybe if they're usual left backs out and they'll be rotating or doing something funny. I don't know, because Marco Silva seemed to have more plasticity, responsiveness to him than Moyes did in formation wise. It might be a case of, well, again, am I being too hopeful to think we might see some substitutions earlier in the game?
Absolutely not.
Not early.
Different Davy is an 80, 85 minute man, and he's probably he's Dice on steroids, isn't he, with his substitutions.
But it does great when okay, so to be fair, we're going out there with Dibbling and Tyreek George on the bench and Merlin Roll, and okay, Beto's there, you know what's going to happen, and Alcaraz. So you'd think, okay, maybe if we're not getting any, if we're not reaping any benefits out on the pitch, change it up earlier, do something, give the players something to play for, so they're not just sat there for 5 minutes when they don't. So hoping for. It is frustrating.
Yeah.
Have we got anything positive to say? Let's have a look at some of the comments.
Man United's winning 2-0. Anyway, Gavin
Asterisk on that.
Yeah, that's not wasn't me saying a positive thing. That was just informing people of what the score is. And that guy who refused to cut his hair until Man United won 5 games on the trot might actually be able to cut his hair. That's not you. Well, he had a big throw, didn't he? He had a big massive throw. But it was getting a bit carried away with itself. But Gavin had a point there. Gavin Cunningham had a point there. Is that all our decent away results have come from the fact that O'Brien was starting at centre half rather than the right back. But I mean, we're sitting here making out like Jake O'Brien's being terrible at right back. He hasn't, but he's still not a right back.
No, he's not exactly. So the times when you can see him, like where I sit at Bramley Moor, is exactly right next to where he sort of just stations himself, and you can see sometimes it's not. Of course, he cares, but he just knows he's not going to get the ball, or he's not going to turn quick enough, or if he sticks a foot out there, he's going to get done in and turned. Like, you just can't blame a guy for knowing what his limitations are and then tempering his game to not let other people take advantage of them. I praise him for that, but it's very frustrating when he's consistently played out of position and then he's getting people slagging him off for it. It's like, you can't stick it's like sticking Andrei Kanchelskis in goal and expecting him to do a Jordan Pickford or a Neville Southall. You can't be something you're not.
Yeah. No, like the only thing I can think of is the reason why he keeps putting Jake O'Brien at right back is because of the height at set pieces. It's the only thing I can think of. But he literally doesn't offer anything apart from that.
I mean, wouldn't you think that Keane? Somebody just said here, was it Tazul? Said here, why would you put Keane straight back in if he got himself sent off in the Wolves game? He doesn't deserve to come straight back in. And for me, the idea that he has been put in suggests he's like prime choice number one. Which, you know, if you can see that Branthwaite is fit and back in, why not put O'Brien next to Tarkowski and then try and bring in, Patterson or Asnu? I mean, just please give him a chance. And I don't know, maybe it's me being stupid. You can't do this, but like if you give Asnu a chance and at least then proves to the fans, well, look, he might not be ready. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Or play free at the back. Do you know what I mean? Play Tarkowski, Keane and O'Brien, or Branthwaite and O'Brien, and have wing backs. You know, you use Patterson or Michalenko as a wing back.
Well, well, I'll go for 5 at the back, which other people have been saying absolutely not, absolutely not.
No,
So
not 5, but your full backs have more room to push on, having 3 centre halves. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, well, somebody does make the point here. Okay, yeah, Mr. Blue Skies again. Thanks for the contribution, guys. Do keep getting your comments in. They are down here, and we do try and get some of them up. So do appreciate that. As just to let you know as well, give an update on the scores. It is yes. Oh, well, it would, but my internet's not loading now. It is 2-0 with 5 minutes to go in the United game. Christian Romero did get sent off for that. In slow motion, it did look like quite a bad tackle, didn't it?
I never seen it. I was asleep.
Oh, well, there was a bit of back and forth. Spurs looked like they might have been getting into the game. A couple of cynical fouls, Udogi in the build-up, or maybe that was after, I can't remember. And then Romero went in, didn't have to, put quite a lot of his weight on Romero's ankle and twisted it. And to be fair, it looked like he was in actual pain, which is interesting considering if that's an injury there, if he came off, I don't know. But, well, we'll see. He didn't come off. But anyway, yeah, sorry. I was just giving an update there because that is a game that can kind of influence us because we're playing United on the 23rd, I think. And if they get
obviously they're in they're in a bit of a patch of form at the moment. But the thing is, it's like I think at the moment we'd rather be away from home than at home, wouldn't we?
Yeah. I was I noticed some lovely pictures from John from Toffee TV talking about his away days, and yeah, lovely. Love going down south, avoiding the grey misery. Well, it's actually there's no blue sky, but it is when skies are grey. You get an away day, you get the thought of okay, well, we've gone all this way, same familiar faces, lovely bit of sunshine, and more often than not, more points than at home. What a ridiculous! What's the away table? Have you seen it?
We was joint top with Arsenal, weren't it? 10 games, 10 wins away from home or something, and a couple of draws thrown in there.
Yeah, I mean, we've slipped now. We're in 6th, but we're only, as you say, 3 points off second. It's a bit bonkers. We're level with City on the away table. It's bonkers.
Yeah, but anyway, let's talk about today.
Yes.
Oh, I'll tell you what we shall talk about.
Yes.
The Dwight McNeil debacle. What was that all about?
Oh, the going to Crystal Palace, not going to Crystal Palace, and then having to sort of sit there and be like, "Hey guys, back to work."
Yeah, it's me. I'm back.
It reminds me in a weird narrative way. I don't know if you're ever a fan of it. Sherlock, the BBC show, when Moriarty at the swimming pool goes and comes back and says, "I'm so changeable." Just yeah. I mean, to be fair, I don't fault the guy because here's my thinking. He's given us what 4 years, and he quite happily admittedly did quite a lot of decent work, put in a shift and was there when we really needed him, and did what was required. Maybe he wasn't the best player, but that's not what we're debating here. Or at least I'm not. And I'm thinking that he did well enough. He immediately stepped back with Njai and other players coming in and just went, okay, and we didn't hear anything. There was no fuss, there was no drama. He came on and he seemed to have fell out of favor, but he didn't resent that, and he just came on and was happy to do the job. And then look, if he wants to move away because we've got all these players, and for instance, once things get started in motion, it's not that easy to entirely stop them, especially, as you say, if you're about to put in the moves to make a move away, you kind of, it's already a sort of snowball thing. So even if Jack Grealish did get injured and isn't staying, the fact that we brought in or we're talking about Tyreek George, and somebody mentioned it before, the fact that we've got like other players that are coming in, dibbling, and maybe Dwight McNeil's gone, well, I've done my time. I'm not getting selected. Other people are getting picked ahead of me. Fair play to the guy, I think. It's reasonable in my mind. I'm not trying to tell you if you disagree with me, you're wrong. But
listen, I think all in all, I think that Crystal Palace thought they were getting Dwight McNeil at X amount of millions, but the price that was on the table was reported by Sky was 20 million, right? Us as Evertonians were like, thank you very much. You know what I mean? He's kind of a fringe player now. I mean, it's not his fault that he's been getting played out on the right and he's all left foot. It's down to Moyes at the end of the day. Jack Grealish got injured. The first thing he's done was put Njai back out on the left, right? Where Njai been playing well all season on the right. So Dwight McNeil coming in on the left instead of Grealish, you would have thought was the natural sort of progression, right? That didn't happen. He was playing him out on the right. He was woeful. He was to blame for the goal against Leeds. Sort of dawdling back and not putting in his best effort, and Evertonians see that, and they get on his case straight away, and rightly so, for not giving everything that he's got to get back and stop that goal. But then I don't think Palace ever had the intentions of signing them. Why bring him down there, put the deal sheet in, which was like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then they got an extension of another 2 hours to get the deal done. He'd been down there, had the medical, agreed terms and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, the paperwork was filled in wrong, or they didn't fill the paperwork in time. It's just absolutely stinks of.
this is
You know what I mean?
it stinks of Everton. Like, for instance, we've got a new stadium. The paperwork just wasn't put in time for the loan to be approved. Like,
Yeah,
there are
but
dots.
they've tried to shift the blame onto Everton by saying that they've tried to sort of soften the blow on them by saying they tried to change the deal. They wanted a loan with the obligation to buy, which Everton just wanted an outright sale. But
Well, I mean, is that look, if they want that loan with an obligation to buy, like, why not just do it? Get the wages
yeah,
off the books, and you've got some recoup, because otherwise, I mean, how long's left on the guy's contract?
well, he must have a few years on for them to turn around and offer that kind of money. I mean, he's still only 27. It feels like he's been around for like 100 years. Doesn't
How do I do a screen share on here? Sorry for the absolute veneer of professionalism that masks the shambolic amateurishness that is now Follow Everton without Ryan or Chris or Chad or indeed anyone. Wes, you're more professional than me. You should be hosting this. So
No,
what do I do?
I'm definitely not more professional than you. But I don't know. He's back now, and he's so Blue Stew says he's still got 2 years left on his contract.
Here we go. Right. So this is the bugger. This is the lineup. Am I allowed to show the BBC website? It's viewable to everyone, isn't it?
As long as you've got it, as long as you've got a TV license.
Yes, of course I do. Look, here's the thing. People talk about the BBC, and I'm not going to get all political, right, or anything, because it's not political. They make mistakes, and everybody has the personal bias, but there's no editorial opinion, and it's reportage of facts, and the fact that it's being discredited, and the fact that, like, a lot of its income comes from selling Faulty Towers and Planet Earth and all these wonderful documentaries, and the investment that it makes in local TV and media and courses. Like, my God, I love the BBC. Please do not mock me for loving the BBC. It's a bastion of Britishness. I'm sorry. And I don't mean that in any imperialistic sense. It is just a wonderful institution. Doesn't mean that it's not without fault. Just going to say that because, yes, people could throw plenty of stuff here. But, you know, I love the BBC. Give me a job.
Right, so the threat here, obviously, Wilson and Smith Rowe, right? I think we don't have to worry about Jimenez in the air with obviously having the height that we've got at the back.
And O'Brien, yeah.
But Wilson's the danger man because he's the man that's in the that he's the one who's in form at the moment. So we have to be very careful of him. Free kicks, set pieces, and stuff like that. Smith Rowe, very good with the ball at his feet. Very sort of like good close control and stuff like that. So we have to be wary of him. But apart from that, I don't see that they've got much in that squad that we have to really worry about.
I mean, the fact that they have quite easily embarrassed us in previous fixtures. Let's have a look here, the head-to-head. Oh, no, wait. Oh, where's the head-to-head previous meetings? Okay, so, yeah, we did win at home, but that was a pretty poor game, the one from May last season, wasn't it?
Yeah. And they beat us in the cup on penalties, remember? When,
Nana's
Pisnenko, passed the ball back to the keeper.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get rid of this. Apparently, talking about the BBC is divisive. Yeah. Yeah. So that United game did finish 2-0, or it is currently in the final death gasp throes. I don't know whatever's going there. Yeah. So, what's your predictions for today? Do you think we're gonna see Fulham that are gonna come out and try to be vibrant and attacking and go down the wings and cut inside and do this sort of fast-paced thing that Fulham do on the counter, but then that relies on us having possession, and we never seem to set up to have possession. And it's going to be interesting.
This is the thing, like we really don't cope well with pace. We do not cope well with pace. This is why it's slightly surprising that Tyreek George didn't start. But obviously we know Wobie got a bit of trickery about him. So it's a tough one because I think we'll start the way we started, the last game, trying to sort of a lot of the away games where we're just trying to sort of stifle and frustrate the other team, and then like sort of come on strong in the second half. But we only started doing that second half was when we went 1-0 down.
Oh yeah, we're great at being responsive and damage limitation. We're absolutely. Oh my God, am I going to have to follow Everton from this? Because I really don't think
the language is choice.
Yeah, I just. Anyway,
we ban ourselves.
Yeah. Look, can you believe I'm using a dodgy webcam that makes my PC shut down every so often if it touches because the wire's a bit awkward. So I had to order a new one, and they bloody sent it at 7:30 in the morning. Who's up at 7:30 on a Saturday?
Me.
What sane person is okay? I'm not exactly set. Just bugger off, all right? Leave us alone. So anyway,
what you took it back?
No, yeah, they didn't deliver it, so I'm hoping it gets delivered at some point. Yeah, so all I'd like to see is we don't embarrass ourselves. We don't have a show of slapping each other. We don't get a red card. We don't have calamitous mistakes where somebody just because there were occasions where, you know, when McNeil had played recently, yeah, I said he'd done a job, and a couple of people said, well, what job? Shitting out of tackles and failing to do this. Absolutely. The last few months, he's seemed, whether it's a lack of match fitness or a lack of drive or ambition, but he's just sat off and not closed spaces down or chased players down. And
Yeah,
it's been rather frustrating to see the failures happen in real time. And it's
yeah.
just, it's disappointing.
The thing is with McNeil, right, is that he's got a great left foot, and he's got some, you know, he's crossed in some great crosses in the past, but he can only do that from the left. Can't do that from the right. So, you know, if you're going to play him, then play him in position. Don't. This is what this is why Moyes is getting a lot of flack for, you know, for the team selections. Not because I don't think not because of the performances, but the selections. Do you know what I mean? It's like putting why put square pegs in round holes when you've got round pegs to fit round holes?
Yeah. This is just following up from the team news here. Right. We've got Fulham are setting up with Leno, and it's probably Wes is right, said Sessegnon's going to be at left back and Iwobi will be somewhere on the left or right wing. And that's how they set up. And we believe that the main threat will be Wilson Smith Rowe, you know, basically cutting inside, catching us off, and well, hopefully we'll be good at set plays. But our setup here is Pickford, O'Brien, Tarkowski, Keane, which we're frustrated about, and Mikalenko, Garner and Idrissa Gueye, which you sort of standard you'd expect. But Armstrong, Dewsbury Hall, and Inman and Jai, we're a little bit frustrated that that we're not seeing. Well, again, how would you set it up? There's limited positions, but we're not seeing somebody more attacking and fast paced to pair with Armstrong. Maybe Armstrong is the threat. We don't know. And then Barry up front because he seemed to hit a bit of a vein of form at the moment. And on the bench, it leaves us with
Yeah, I think we will see Tyreek George at some point, whether that's and Jai being swapped to the right and them coming on on the left. I don't know. See, I also think Timera Boonham, like when Garner Gay was at the AFCON. Oh yeah, okay, he had a couple of games out where he was injured, but I thought he did enough to turn out and retain his place, even though even when, you know, Garner Gay came back from the AFCON, I thought he'd done enough in games to sort of warrant getting a starting place. But it's kind of one of them, isn't it? Moyes just relies on, you know, what sort of getting them points here, there, and whatnot. But I think Irabunam offers, you know, more attacking prowess
yeah.
than what Garner Gay does. I think he pushes the team forward more, Irabunam,
Do you not
than
think is?
what Garner Gay does.
But I mean, Garner Gay has been capable of that. So do you think it's maybe a conscious choice on his part to slow the game down? Or do you think it's a limitation in his play as he's got older? Because Irabunam at times has been a bit of fault for leaving us open to be attacked. He'll sit deep sometimes, but he won't close the right channels. I don't know. I don't want to get too nitpicky here.
You know, I think Irabunam, he's, you know, he's strong and he is quick, and he does bully defenders, whereas obviously Garner Gay, he's more of a getting your foot in, stopping, you know, stopping an attacks and stuff like that. Whereas Irabuna can do that as well as going forward.
Fair. Okay. So that currently leaves the league with United's win there. They've secured a little bit of a foothold over Chelsea and Liverpool. We're obviously playing Fulham. We're in 10th on the same goal difference as Fulham. So a win would really be useful because Sunderland and Brentford are both playing away, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sunderland are away to Arsenal and Brentford are away to Newcastle later. So really, 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 again, this is another opportunity. We didn't capitalise, but we scraped and eked that point last week.
Well,
Again,
we got a game on Tuesday against Bournemouth, have we?
what?
Got a game on Tuesday against Bournemouth.
Uh,
It's just come up then on CNC or Discovery or whatever.
yeah. Oh, bugger. Forgot about that. There's that. Well, yeah, because they're all clustered together. There's this one, and then there's the one on the next week, and then there's another home game on the 23rd. Yeah. Excellent. Cool. Magic. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, with all those in mind, yeah, we've got Bournemouth, United, and then we're away to Newcastle. So really, it would be a lovely time to get a bit of a foothold over Bournemouth and Newcastle and Fulham, if we could. But yeah, are you optimistic?
Well, against Bournemouth? Nope.
Against any of them?
Like I say, I think I'm more optimistic at the moment when we're playing away from home rather than at home. And you just think like that should never really be the case. Like we need to make Bramley more a fortress, and it's just not at the moment. But then, like I keep saying to Evertonians that I get in me car, is that the football that's getting played is flat, so the crowd's going to be flat. You've got to give the fans something to get behind, and if you're not giving them anything to get behind, then they can't get behind you. Simple as that.
Well, I said it recently, and I don't know if you caught me saying it because we don't do too many streams together. But I said the frustrating thing about watching Everton at the moment is the players don't make football happen. They don't run around as much. They don't run into space. They just sort of expect magically, as if somebody's going to do some sort of button combination on FIFA, that they'll pass and someone will magically turn a player, it'll open up a space and they'll start running. And I'm thinking, you have to, this is what I'm saying. And it's really simple to me, but if you don't necessarily, if I haven't explained it, maybe it doesn't make sense to people, but you've got to make football happen.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just not at the moment. Everybody's kind of like expecting us to get into. We're not expecting us to get into Europe, but hoping that we get into Europe. I just don't think we're equipped at the moment to deal with Europe. But then on the flip side of that, neither was West Ham when Moyes won the Europa Conference League with West Ham. Right? They didn't have a big squad and stuff like that. And with us only bringing in Tyreek George in the January transfer window, I'd imagine we're going to have a bit more to spend in the summer. So we might see a few more additions in the summer. And obviously players going out. There was rumours of Patterson going like on some sort of swap deal with that Norton Cuffy at Genoa. But then what sort of baffled my brain with that was, why would Genoa want a right back what we don't want if they're getting rid of a good right back? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, then you'd have to wonder if somebody's pulling strings like that to make it happen. Why aren't they pulling strings to just get in a decent right back? Because you saw the net spend recently over the past, 3 or 5 years or something, that we are now well down. We're in the
12 million.
Yeah. Now, does that not mean that with the increased match day revenue, the hospitality, the consolidation of debts, and the operation, I'm not expecting the world. I'm not expecting Everton to go out and break the bank and spend 400 million on sort of 6 players. I'm not. But you'd have to think that we bought Tyler Dibbling, 42 million. We've got Illiman and Jai. We've got Keane and Dewsbury Hall. Okay, these are the basis of something. We've got James Garner, we've got Branthwaite and O'Brien, and we're thinking of the future. Asnu, okay. Who else? We brought Tyreek George. Okay, what else? Pickford's there, and he's staying, and he's consolidated. Excellent, fantastic. And we've got some of the old guard players that are happy to sort of shepherd. Now what? What are you going to build the team around? And it's things that when we go out today, and some people have said it, you've seen, we saw Patterson, we saw some players come out and younger players and Merlin Roll, and they've done something. They've done something on the pitch, right? And then to see another fixture a week later, a complete capitulation to a very defensive, negative style of play, and we lose or we play terribly. And I don't expect football to be this experimental platform, but if you have to think that we're going forward and we've only bought one player and the squad's going, and maybe we're aiming for Europe, but where's the ambition both on and off the pitch? And it is frustrating sometimes that there might be the ambition there, but when it doesn't get the regular fruits of labours, or you have players that are holding you back by not giving their all. I know I've turned into a rant here, but it's disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, I mean, like last week, we kind of like frustrated. Was it Brighton? Was it? We frustrated them first half, and then obviously they got a goal, and then we sort of started having a go. But it would be interesting to see how we react if we go down in the first half, a goal down in the first half. Do you know what I mean?
It's so strange, though. Doesn't it? Like I totally understand what you're saying, Wes, right? But isn't it strange that we're in a situation where we're feasibly, reasonably saying, I'd be interested to see what happens if or when we go a goal down. Like that shouldn't be where we're at, should it?
No, but like I said, we only sort of reacted. Like if we'd been like, what going in second into the end of the first half last week, 1-0 down. Would we say come out in the second half and started playing like we did the way we get against Leeds in the second half?
Well, that was a completely different style of play, and it was rather frustrating that we had to. Yeah, that was a really galling game. I just who in that lineup is going to stand out as an attacking player besides the very stereotypical or the expectation that Illiman and Jai gets crowded out and pushed out wide and tries to just cut inside, and I'm not faulting him for that. There's other elements to his play, but just without the right support around him, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall is going to have a lot of work to do, and James Garner is going to be quite limited because of the defence behind him of having Keane, Tarkowski, and O'Brien. So he's going to do quite a lot of coverage work, which again seems a reactive or a defensive, almost park the bus setup, and it's frustrating because I really think we've got an opportunity here.
Yeah, it's predictable, and like NGI and Dewsbury Hall are our outballs, and it's easy to defend against. Outside of that, we rely on balls into the box, and so it's easy to set up against to sort of combat the way we play, because we haven't got any creativity in the squad in that that middle of the park where you got James Garner who can put a ball through, but then you haven't got somebody on the end of it who's got a lot of pace who can sort of run onto it. Have you? You know what I mean? So it's like swings and roundabouts.
I'm going to say something to lift the mood a little bit as we probably edge closer to winding up and letting people get ready for the actual kickoff and listen to on the radio and whatnot. Now, isn't it strange that I'm in a situation where I'm going, do you know who I kind of think we could have done with right now? Andre Gomez.
Andre Gomez.
He did have a play. He had a way about him of surprisingly languid loping. He'd just turn and suddenly advance about 15, 20 yards. And from the centre of the play, and he was centre of the pitch, and he was cool, he was calm, he was measured. He had a touch of the Mikel Arteta's about him. And he had a very terrible injury, and we got rid of him.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry. Just want to say, Hong Kong Fui's actually pointed out on something I was about to say before. And again, I'm going to sound, but realistically, at the start of the season, were we not incredibly worried? And some people were very optimistic, but I was quietly going, no, I would settle for mid-table. And look at what's happening, because I think realistically, you can be optimistic and aim to win the league. But I think that was what I thought some people who were claiming that they were being realistic and saying aiming for Europe. That was my idea of them going, oh, well, every season's a chance to win the league for me. Do you know?
Yeah, I 100% what Hong Kong Fury is saying here. I used to fucking love Hong Kong Fury as a kid, but what he's saying here is spot on. I think a lot of people are sort of like trying to run before we can even walk. You know, we got to learn to toot with the owls before we can soar with the eagles. So it's like slow. You know, we need to like build the squad so it's good enough to compete in Europe, right? And like you said, anything rather than being in that bottom three for the last 3 years, anything rather than that, and people are saying, well, that's just typical Evertonians' attitude, but it's not. It's like mid-table is progress for us.
Hmm.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? People seem to forget that where we've been for the last 3 years. Not
Well, I've just got to say, like, to be fair, and again, reason. Well, considering we are unbeaten in 3 and haven't kicked a ball today, I think negativity is uncalled for. That is true. But then when you look at United turning it around from where they were, and they're unbeaten in 5, 6, 7, I don't know, but they've won 4 in a row nearly. Is it going to be 5 soon? And you said that guy's going to cut his hair. Now, you look at their players and their inconsistency, and you think, okay, there were signs of us to push on and have a bit more consistency. And it's not negativity. It's a frustration to see the same patterns that have created that up and down performance for Everton, where 1 week, you know, we'll have some periods of consistency and then capitulate. I think that's what we're discussing, right, Wes?
yeah. I think ultimately, like people are saying, sack Moyes and blah blah blah, and they're entitled to that opinion. But did they want to go back to dice ball? Did they want to sort of, you know, be languishing down the bottom and, you know, sort of the football's not great under Moyes, don't get me wrong, right? But
It's consistently solid. It doesn't feel shaky, even when we're under it, when we're losing. It doesn't feel like we're gonna capitulate.
yeah, and also he's, you know, he's in the process of trying to build a team. We know you know, he's called Dizzard and Davy for a reason, right? But he's trying to slowly build a decent squad. So
Mm.
when eventually he does leave his position, or he's, you know, relinquished of his post,
Coleman,
then yeah, whoever the next person is that comes in to replace him will have a you know, a stable
Seamus.
team. Won't he? But he will, won't he? He'll have a stable, good, decent team that's
Can,
full of youth.
we're
I
talking
don't.
of talking of moving forward, right? Let's just think for a second, because he's by all accounts, I don't want to talk about someone that I don't know through snippets of and all things that other people have said. But by all accounts, Seamus Coleman's doing his training. He's still involved in things. But wouldn't it be wonderful? Let's just think for a second. Wouldn't it be wonderful if he took over the reins from David Moyes?
That's not going to happen. Although we'd love it to happen as Evertonians, we'd love Seamus to get a crack at the whip. It's probably more likely to be Bainesy than Seamus.
Well, that
But
that in itself would be all right as well.
yeah, but that's not going to happen because I think the Freakins have got a bit more ambition than the likes of Seamus Coleman and Leighton Baines. But
Look, that this is sorry, but we've got again. None of this is arguing. We've got to discuss, and we all love the club and want the best, and we are, broadly speaking, singing from the same hymn sheet, right? Because we are trying to talk about going forward, and what does it signal when we don't see the young players that have been brought in? I mean, when you say young players, though, Tyler Dibling's what, 21, and we paid 42 million. It's not like he's a 16-year-old that you've paid 25 million for. Well, let's not go there with that one.
Listen, we know that in 3-4 years time, Garner and Saka's not going to be there anyway. But we've got the likes of Branthwaite, if we can keep hold of him. Jake O'Brien is a good centre half. Let's not forget that Jake O'Brien has done all right at centre half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously, you know, we don't want to turn around and go in and change, you know, 4 or 5 players all at once.
Yeah, but we've missed the transition. Anyway, we're getting off to. We're not talking about today's match. There is about 10 minutes to kick off, and there isn't any sort of last-minute news that you know of, do you? No injuries. Let's have a look. United Spurs finished 2-0. And that is pretty much it, I suppose. Lineups and announcements and players are warming up. That's it. No. Wow. What have you got score prediction for today then?
I don't want to just go for the draw. I want to win 2-1. Or
I want to win
1-0.
2-0.
1-0 or 2-1 will do me.
Yes, a win under any circumstances would do me. Absolutely, that'd be lovely. But having said that, a two goal, like at least 2 goals would be lovely to put us securely over Sunderland with goal difference, and bumpers over Fulham, etc., and Newcastle. It put us in the positive goal difference rather. I don't know. Yeah,
But
2-0.
people are talking on there about teams that are, you know, the likes of Sunderland who are above us. I think is Sunderland above us or just below us?
Sunderland are above us on 2 points. If we win, we will leapfrog over into 7th, over Fulham, who will remain on 34 points and we will get and any goal difference, because we're on level goal difference, will go over. And Sunderland are playing Arsenal and Brentford are playing Newcastle at the same time and then later. So what that could mean, they're both away. So fingers crossed. Again, I did jinx it, but I'm just going to leave everyone else. I jinxed it last week, so I'll leave it there for everyone to join.
But Sunderland have bought a lot of players in, right, and not spent a great deal of money, and they brought some good players in. Granit Xhaka, that Adingra, he was a good player. Broby's a good player, so they brought in some good players. So to sort of you always get it every so often. You get a team coming up from the Championship who surprise everybody, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Every now and again it happens. Leicester, yeah, obviously is the standout one. But now and again, you get a team coming up from the Championship and they actually have a little go, and they've got no fears against Premier League opposition, and they do all right for themselves. But then the second season, they sort of fall flat on their asses. So we'll see. We'll give them this season. I like Sunderland, like most Evertonians, and I hope they do well, but they don't finish above us. But we'll see what happens to them next season, innit?
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm not going to say anything because I'll get myself in trouble. But there we go. And that's all.
We knock it on the head then, mate. Everyone get a brew so for the match or a bevy.
That's it. Thank you for joining us. Tell everyone, like, subscribe, get our whatever it is, subscription thingies over a certain number so Ryan doesn't shout at us anymore.
50 million we're on, aren't we?
Yeah, something like that. Well, our wages. We need a transfer to the Al Nassr League. It's just not, yeah.
500,000 pounds. What is he on? £500,000 a week, and he's having a strike. Oof.
Are we doing a post match?
I'm not. I've got things to need to be doing.
You're like, yeah, right. Anyone, thank you very much for joining us. This is Follow Everton. I'm Yann.
I'm Wez, and have a great weekend, folks. Up the fucking toffees.
Up the fucking toffees.